glad you made it! I'm just about to make a delicious holiday recipe. Come on, I'll show you how to do it. First thing I want to show you is how to make an appetizer. This appetizer is bacon wrapped water chestnuts. You're just going to get sliced water chestnuts or whole, dump them in a bowl, and we're going to marinate them first. I'm going to marinate them with a cup of soy sauce and half a cup of sugar. I'll put a little bit more. Half a cup of sugar. Then we're just going to stir this around, and it's just going to marinate for about 30 minutes. So while the water chestnuts are marinating, we're going to prep the vegetables for the main dish, which is going to be pork chops with red cabbage. My mom made this recipe a lot when I was growing up, and it's one of my favorites. It's really, really good and warm and good for a holiday meal or just a dinner with your family. So we're going to chop up half a head of red cabbage, maybe a little bit more. This is kind of a small red cabbage. And the good thing about red cabbage is like you barely have to chop it up because it kind of shreds itself like this. So just roughly chop that up, and then we're going to chop up an onion, and we're going to get to cooking. Okay, so I have 3 pork chops here, and they're pretty thick. So the first thing we want to do is put some oil in a pan, turn it on to medium-high heat, and we're going to sear just both sides of the pork chops. It's not going to cook it all the way through. You just want both sides to be browned, so they're kind of crispy and gets the first layer of flavor. So just a few minutes on each side, and then we're going to take them out of the pan and put a little salt and pepper on them. Let's check on our pork chops. Oh yeah, they look brown on both sides. So let's turn it off, and then I'm going to put them off to the side on a plate. And we're going to get the cabbage and onion and raisins and all this good stuff cooking in the same pan. I'm going to add a tablespoon of butter, and we're going to melt this in the pan, and then we're going to add our onion, and we're going to let the onion cook for a few minutes just by itself, and then we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. The cabbage, we're going to add brown sugar, red wine vinegar, and some raisins. So let's just let this cook. The onions are turning brown, so let's add half a teaspoon or a whole teaspoon of light brown sugar. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of red wine vinegar. 1, 2. Okay. And we're going to put in all the cabbage. This will cook down quite a bit. It's really bulky now and looks like a ton, but it'll really cook down a lot. And then we're also going to add like a handful of raisins. You can get golden raisins or regular. This is a mixture that I found. So just put some raisins in there. I'll put a little bit more. And then we're gonna do 1 cup of low sodium vegetable broth. Then you just kind of stir all these ingredients together and let it simmer for about 5 minutes. And then we're gonna add back in our pork chops and then simmer that for another 15 minutes. And the pork chops will cook the rest of the way through and get really tender, and they'll soak up this juice and it'll be really good. Okay, so let's just stir this together. Put the pork chops back into my cabbage and onions. I'm just gonna make some little beds for it so it's kind of nestled in there. Ugh, they're heavy. So you want to put the pork back in like this. If you have a bigger pan, you might want to use a bigger pan. I don't. And I also don't have a lid for this. But once these are in here, you need to cover it. So I'm just going to use tin foil. Cover it somehow. If you have to use tin foil, like me, that's fine. And we're going to leave it on medium heat for about 15 minutes. We'll just check on it every now and then, but you just basically want to cook the pork chops the rest of the way through and make sure there's no pink left. So we'll come check on this in a little bit. Alright, the water chestnuts have been in here probably 30 minutes, so I think they're good. And what we're going to do is take a pound of bacon I have here, cut it in half. Okay. Now, this is really easy, and I would recommend getting kids or whoever you want to help you with this. But we're just going to take each piece of water chestnut and wrap it up in half a strip of bacon and put a toothpick through it. Then we're going to put it in a pan, and I preheated the oven to 400 degrees, and you're just going to put them in the oven for about 30 minutes till the bacon is all cooked and crispy, and that's all. Just make sure when you do this you put toothpicks that you're going to use in a separate dish, because you don't want to put your bacon hands in all the toothpicks and then ruin them all. So when the pork chops are done, we're going to put them on top of couscous. You can use rice or potatoes or pasta, really anything you want. So I got Israeli couscous, and I'm just going to make it to the directions on the box. We're going to fry this up with a little bit of olive oil and no water to begin. This to add water. I'm going to add vegetable broth because I already had it open for the cabbage and pork chops, and I think it adds more flavor. So add 1 3/4 cup vegetable stock, and it sounds pretty hot, but you need to get it to a boil, and then once it boils, turn it down to simmer just like rice, and then we're going to cover it and let it cook for about 12 minutes. Alright, everything's done, so we can serve it up. I'm just going to put a spoonful of the couscous down.